They gave me a warm robe. The robe was warm. It wasn't a hot nut. It was a hot robe.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. I'm really happy to see you, Margie.
Me too.
Really happy to see you.
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
We were chatting a bit before we started recording this, and the world is in a weird place. As individuals, we are going through some stuff. We're minutes away from the election, moments, weeks, days, whatever. And the one thing I was thinking as I was getting ready is at least I'm not Tamra Judge.
That is a huge relief. At the end of the day, I can at least fall back on that. You know who I'm not? Tamra Judge.
I'm not Tamra.
Just, she's atrocious. And this whole, oh boy, I had that just sinking feeling of like Americans abroad in general are a little troublesome, but like Orange County, a group of Orange County women abroad was so embarrassing on every level. They're just terrible. The way they harassed that little concierge man, I was like, leave him alone. I don't even think he's in a relationship. I think he was just like, please get away from me, you predatory psychos.
If we saw that behavior coming from men, it would be real gross.
Because they were all screaming and cackling at him like, do you have a brother? Do you know someone? Can you get her laid? And I was just like, oh my God, you're staying at this
# laid in London. Yeah.
They're staying at this beautiful hotel. Oh my God. And you can't treat service people like that.
No, you can't.
He's a human being who's doing a job. He's not there for you to make jokes about or try to, I don't know. If you really want his concierge services, approach him like a adult person and say like, hey, we're seeking someone to sleep with our friend. Is that a service you can provide us with? As opposed to being like, she needs to get the dew licked off her daisy or whatever the fuck Katie called it.
The dew dusted off her lily.
Oh, excuse me.
The dew dusted off her lily. Yeah.
My bad. But
wow, listen.
It was all bad.
Yeah, they sexually harassed that man on camera for the world to see. It was.
The first
very
time was bad enough, and then they came back for another round, and I was like, you guys.
Yeah, leave him alone, honestly.
And Shannon was embarrassed. Like, often the person who everyone's like doing that for is mortified. And she's like, he's blushing because you guys are so obnoxious. And I felt bad for everybody involved. That was terrible.
I mean, Heather was just doing the most when it came to, again, like, she just has to let everyone know Shannon is 60, Shannon is 60, Shannon is 60. And I'm like, Heather, it's coming for you.
I know.
And I don't believe that she's coming from a place of just like wanting to wish her friend a happy birthday. Because that's all you can do is say, hey, happy birthday. And there's no shame in turning 60. That's not what I'm saying.
No, of course
not.
But
we're saying that in the circles they run in, was it Tamra that was saying it about Emily? When you're running around in Orange County in the circles they run around in, and you're not a size 0, it's a thing. And everyone in Orange County in the circles they run into are trying to fight time. We're all trying to fight time. I'm guilty of trying to fight time. And I shouldn't feel shame in admitting that. Because
there is no shame. Everybody is, including Heather.
Including Heather. My point is that it felt like Heather, see, this is what is insipid about her. She'll be able to, on paper, say, I was just wishing my friend a happy birthday. It's like, no, you were saying her age, which is older than you.
Yes. And it's a big age. Like,
it's a
like
big
age.
age.
Ain't nothing but a number until you say it 100 times over. And then it's like 60 is a lot of D's. It's 6D. It's a lot. And when she got on the flight, the PA system, and she's like, it's been a very long flight. Speaking of long trips, Shannon's
Exactly.
been on this planet for so long.
She's
You won't
such
even
an
believe
asshole.
it. She's 60.
She's such a dick. She's such a
Weird.
dick. She did it on
Yeah.
purpose. She's a dick. And I'm also not Heather Dubrow. I'm not. Neither are you.
No,
And neither are
true.
any of the people that are listening to us.
No.
And like Heather, listen, if you are listening, Heather, are you okay?
No. I'll
How you
answer that
doing?
on her behalf. She's not fine.
How you
No.
doing? Yeah.
She spent the last 12 episodes or whatever, 18 episodes talking about Disneyland paparazzi pics and like being legitimately letting there be a rift in a relationship because like she's crazy. She's not
Yeah.
okay. But that's fine. That's her world. That's what matters to her. It's fine.
This is the Real Housewives of Orange County, season 18, episode 14,
Right.
High Tea and High Tension. I don't know why I fantasize about doing this, but I do. I fantasize about, we're always being asked to like host fundraisers and stuff for my kids' school. And I have a recently remodeled backyard that I adore and would be perfect to host a high tea. Now, when I think of high tea, I think of high tea. And I think of like, would you like a gummy? Would you like a cannabis gummy? Would you like an edible with your finger sandwich? Would you like a cannabis version of a Loverboy drink with your Earl Grey? My point about the fundraiser thing is that I often think like, I would like to have a high tea
That's very clever.
fundraiser,
Yeah.
That would
but
I don't know if I don't.
up
It
to
would.
spend money.
It would, a high tea like just for a select group of people that
Yeah.
are 420 friendly or not. I don't know. You don't have to be, but I just thought it would be funny.
Yeah.
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Fuck. I don't know. God, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if I can. I don't know. I don't know what the stigma is anymore.
There's no stigma.
Like, I would drink a glass of wine in front of my child, but I'm not going to puff on a vape pen in front of my kid. And if I ate a gummy in front of him, I don't know if I would tell him what it was. And so what does that say? That's my own stuff.
So I can't answer, I can't contribute because having been in a household ruled by addiction, I'm scared of everything. Anything that alters the state of a parent is too disturbing to me. But for people who have parents who indulge appropriately, it's totally fine and normal.
Yeah.
I just don't have that experience, so I wouldn't know what it's like to be a kid and not see someone reach for something and not feel panic,
I get it.
But that wouldn't happen under your roof. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that's like.
I don't either. I didn't drink or do recreational drugs, legal or otherwise, for so long because I was so afraid of becoming my dad and did not want to become my dad. And then I finally realized, like, dude, it's never going to happen. Like, you're never going to be him, But yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know,
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, remember that one season that Heather, it might have been the first season that she came back after taking her little hiatus. Maybe it was 2 years ago. And she was like, I have edibles. Does anyone want edibles? And she thought she was so hilarious. Did we talk about this on the pod?
Yeah.
We did. So maybe it was just last year. But yeah. So like,
and
she's
very
just so
short-lived.
lame.
Yet another gimmick. That
Right.
idiot.
Yeah. Exactly. It went by the way of HD.
Right.
HD
Fireside or whatever it was.
HD Fireside or whatever. HD Fireside and Heather acting like she's the first person to ever use a gummy.
Right.
Jesus Christ, this woman. Anyway, when I was taking notes, everything's going to be broken down by gate. This is Mammogram Gate. This is the start of Mammogram Gate.
Yeah. This is.
And
yeah.
While I am so glad that they took up a portion of this episode to talk about and show everyone getting mammograms and how scary it can be to talk about it. And where you hear yourself say out loud, it's been X amount of years since I've had my last mammogram. You're like, oh shit. When I heard Shannon say it was 10 years, like I was like, oh my God. And I'm really glad that Heather rallied her castmates around to get a group mammogram. Gina's never had one, but she just turned 40. Shannon hadn't had one in 10 years. And, if you have medical care access, please stay on top of your mammograms, please. That said, it had been over a year and a half since I'd gotten my last one. I have a history of abnormal cells and fibroids, and I also have dense breasts, so I need to stay very on top of them. And my results I got last week were satisfactory. Why, when Heather was sharing that she has that 39% chance, that she rounded up to 40, which I thought was to garner sympathy. Am I a monster? I just said that out loud.
No, I have big feelings about this whole storyline. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so like when I got my most recent results back, I have a 15% chance. I don't know what to do with that, but they told me it's fine just to keep coming back in for a yearly diagnostic or a yearly routine, not even a diagnostic. When we were working on the Obama campaign in 2012 is when I turned 40. And that's when I got my first mammogram, was in Chicago. Shout out to the Northwestern Hospital Breast Center. They gave me a warm robe. The robe was warm. It wasn't a hot nut. It was a hot robe. And I was like, oh, so they they set the standard. And so now when I go anywhere and I don't get a hot robe, I'm all, damn, there's no hot robe. Anyway, so I had abnormal cells found my very first mammogram I ever got. And it was totally fucking scary. I had to have a needle biopsy. I think they turned out to be fine. After the election, I went home. I had another biopsy and they put a marker in my breast where they found a cluster of abnormal cells. So that whenever I get a mammogram, that's where they know to look. Like, hey, look in this area. Is shit getting weird? Okay, good. I'm talking about all of this because it's relevant to health for anyone that has breasts, and you're of the appropriate age. And if you have access to medical care, which I don't know if we have international listeners. I don't know if we have anyone who's listening that has access to subsidized health care. But in America, I can understand that if you need to come up, it's a rant for another fucking podcast. But I'm just saying, I'm not here to say oh, just go get a mammogram. Listen, I understand that there are barriers to getting one. If you don't have those barriers, please take care of your health. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I think it's so important. And I think my irritation, and this is where I am back in my conspiracy theory of is Heather producing this show now? Because she said, so they said her risk factor is 39%. And she says, I'm totally freaked out. And now I have to figure out what to do with this information. No, you don't. I have a very similar story to yours. I too have dense breasts and a family history. My very first mammogram, they saw something abnormal in the mammogram. Then I got an ultrasound. They didn't like the looks of that. Then I got a needle biopsy and mine was cancer. But if you detect it early, they went back in with a bigger gauge needle, shot out some more of the shit, put in a radiation tablet, which dissolves on its own. And they also put that marker in. And then I went every 3 months for a year to get a mammogram, every 4 months for a year, and then
That's right.
3 months for a year, and then every 6 months for 2 years, which gets you to the 5-year marker. And I came out fine. So this is where I'm annoyed with Heather is my risk factor was 100%. I had a cancerous mass in my boob, but because I got it early, they got the whole thing out, and all I had to do is put frozen peas in my bra for a week, and I couldn't shower or whatever. You know what I mean? For a week while the incision healed. What Heather is turning it into is exactly why people don't fucking go. Her story is so standard. And if I had heard that story and it scared me away, this thing could have grown and I would have waited 5 years and been in a very different situation. I literally had, 4 or 5 visits, a fucking radiation pellet in a bag of frozen peas, and I'm fine, And I know that cancer is an indiscriminate piece of shit and it doesn't always respond that way. But the technology these days is such that if you can catch it early, you have a phenomenal shot of being, in theory, I'm a cancer survivor, but I'm not. I didn't have to do anything. I went for one mammogram and they didn't even put me under, to get the thing out. I don't know. I just was so irritated that Heather used this as a way to scare everybody. I don't know. It just really bothered me. I just thought that was really irresponsible. I don't care about Shannon doing whatever with John Danson. Did he hear the accident or not? That's not relevant to anyone else but Shannon. But to Heather, what you're doing is like scaring everybody. So like, cool. And also, you don't have to figure out what to do with that information. The radiologist surely counseled you, and you're just avoiding that part because it makes for a better dinner scene, you asshole.
Oh my God.
So annoying.
She's so annoying. Jen found her lump 5 months ago and she couldn't keep her appointment because she was moving. I have ADHD and I'm not using it as an excuse, but at the same time, like that is what kept me from booking mine. And then I found
She wasn't just moving, she was evicted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
it wasn't a planned,
yeah.
you know.
And I recently found something that I think it was just, it had been such a long time since I'd felt it that I was like, oh, is this new? But I, you know, like I have fibroids too. So like, I was like, oh shit. And then like when I went in for my annual exam, my gynecologist did a breast exam and she's like, I think this is the same fibroid, but like, you know,
Let's check it out.
we're, you know, you're going to get it checked out anyway. It's no, you know, like we'll find out. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Yeah, Heather's, and I'm not trying to like look for things to dislike this woman about. I felt like she was very I felt like she was just, man, she's got these needs to like get attention. And
I agree. And this was just a really creepy way to go about it.
Yeah.
I just think it's scary. And I really appreciated the nurse's reaction when Jen said, you know, I have a lump in my breast. And she's like, okay, we'll take a look at that and see what's going on. Like, as opposed to when the women were like, oh, you have a lump?
Yeah, exactly.
You've had it for 5 months. Why do you think nobody talks to...
Right.
Like tomorrow morning, I'm going to the dentist for the first time in like over a year just because I've been delinquent. And I'm like scared to go because I know it's going to be like bloody and painful. And I also don't want to deal with them being like, huh, where have you been? It's just like, I don't know. Life got away from me.
Yeah.
But I'm here now. So can you just fucking clean the plaque off and tell me what the damage is?
Listen,
like,
I've stayed at your house with you. I know your oral hygiene routine. I've
very
heard it
good.
And I've seen it.
But you just go to the dentist every 6 months. And I just, in the course of the writer's strike and all these other external personal life things going on, it just went to the back of my priority list. And I know these dentists and I know they mean well, but I know tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. they're going to be like, and where have you been? And I'm going to have to be like, just clean.
Right.
I don't want to talk.
Well,
just fucking get into it.
Yeah.
It's none of your business. I'm here today. Like that's what it has to be. So anyways, that reaction is always so unhelpful when people gasp and clutch their pearls because like, then what? If it does come out to be a bad result, are you going to blame Jen and say like, well, if you'd gone 5 months ago, you wouldn't have cancer. It's like,
yeah,
you can't fucking know that.
No,
you cannot know that.
You can't.
Cancer's so rude. We're all trying to like get ahead of it by eating kale, but like, you know, again, I'm fresh off an experience of losing a dear friend to something that no one could have predicted coming. A person who exercised daily, meditated daily, never ate sugar, never drank alcohol. Like, it's an asshole. It's just an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
So all you can do is show up when you can. And, you know, anyways.
Then we have some packing montages. Kylie and Katie talk geography. Neither one of them knew what they were talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about a lot of the times when I talk about geography either. I have to look at the map. I bet you knew
Great Britain was an island.
Did I know Great Britain was an island?
Just from having seen it on a map.
Probably did.
Yeah. It's just hanging out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes? Question mark? Yes. Did I?
If you saw a map, you'd be able to pick out like that's Great Britain. Whatever. It's not even relevant. But yeah. But it was, I did find it interesting that Katie used the word train as a verb. She's like, you can train to France. They didn't say take a train. I was
take
like,
a train?
That's weird.
Yeah, dude, don't get me started. That I do know. I do know you can take a high-speed bullet-ass train all over goddamn Europe between places. Even in Eastern Europe, you can take Central Europe, which is, I'm talking about the Czech Republic. I've taken a train that wasn't high speed because they were under communism for a very, very long time and don't have that yet. Well, at least they didn't 20 years ago. I haven't been in a long time. Maybe they've updated their infrastructure. I don't fucking know. My point is that you can, Katie's right. You can train places.
But then they were so in the weeds of like, what's an island and how does it work, that they were like, but how do you train if it's an island? And it's like, you guys, there's tunnels and bridges.
There's
like
tunnels.
What is happening right now? They lost the thread big time.
They did. Emily, the only note I have is that I really liked her sweatshirt. It said, "Good morning, friends and haters." And she also had a lovely white faux fur coat on her rolling rack that she was packing. And as someone that also has a white faux fur coat, my love of white faux fur saw her love of white faux fur.
Well, and her son loved a faux fur coat too.
Yes. Yeah.
And
then
they said he looked like a pimp. And I was like, you guys.
I didn't like that.
I
didn't like
either.
that one
I was
bit.
like, don't do that.
It was terrible. It was awful.
It was
bad choice. Bad judgment, bad choice.
So ignorant.
Shannon is packing. Sophie is there. Sophie is her oldest daughter, correct? And Adeline and Stella are the younger twins. I'm pretty
not
sure.
totally sure.
Apologies to the Bedore daughters if I'm misnaming them. Shannon is wearing a sweatshirt or a sweater that says a jumper. They're going to England, so let's call it a jumper. She's wearing a jumper that says peace. And I'd like to know more about that. I'd like to know if Shannon knows what the word peace means, if she's checked that, if she's recently looked up that word, the definition of the word peace in the dictionary. It's not just a slogan to be cute. It is not that. Peace it's a word that, in my opinion, deserves some reverence and some respect. I know I'm, probably putting too much on this, but just like, to me, it seemed ironic to see the word peace. And it's like, it's not a slogan, lady. It's not like a spiritual gangster bullshit. Peace is a thing. Peace is eluding you, ma'am.
Wait, why did it bother you with relation to Shannon? Just because she has no inner peace, personal peace?
Because she has no inner peace or personal peace.
Okay.
Or looks like, and I feel for her deeply.
Yeah.
I feel for her. I empathize with Shannon Bedore. But just to like be wearing a shirt that advertises peace, not even give peace a chance. Like that's not like a full commitment. It's like, I'm gonna give peace a chance. I'm gonna, I don't really like seafood, but I'm gonna try it. I'll give fish a chance. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like, peace is a thing. Like, you got to commit to peace. Peace is a choice.
I mean, I guess we'd have to ask her in what way she was wearing it. Like peace, like peace out, or peace, like world peace, or peace, like inner peace. Like she would have to. I did not notice the sweater, so I did not have this conflict. But I see what you're saying. She's not a beacon of peace right now.
I wrote Shannon is not serious about peace. Shannon is not a serious person when it comes to peace.
My God, Ramona, the number of times I've used that line this week.
Same, Margaret.
Once you brought it up, I was like, oh my God, it applies to me. It applies to everyone in my life.
It applies
I am not
to
a serious
everything.
person. Everyone in my life is not a serious person, or at least they've proven themselves that way.
Oh my God. I mean, so many people are not serious.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I know. I am not a serious person. If that's
I am not a serious person.
That just happened, and so I'm not serious.
Oh yeah, Shannon gets to see her girls on the London trip, and I was really glad. I'm glad that she gets to see Stella and Adeline. Yeah,
I love that, especially seeing how this episode ends. I'm like, thank God she has something to look forward to on the heels of this fucking smoking turkey or whatever, smoking chicken nightmare dinner that it closed with.
Eddie shares that he was in London in November and it wasn't pretty. And I was like, Eddie, what the fuck? He said purty. And
he's such a bummer. He's like, it was dark and not fun. I was like, what do you mean? You were looking at the wrong thing, sir.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'm sorry. Tamara throws Jen under the bus because she's not a serious person, and it's a day ending, and why?
This was weird to me because Tamara reported that she apologized to Jen at the tea party, but Tamara claims that she was the one who said to Jen, now is not the time to talk about it, but I apologize. That's not true. Tamara said, I want to say I'm sorry. And Jen said, this isn't the place. We'll talk about it another time. It's a conversation for another time. But Tamara painted it like she walked in. I was like, Tamara is such a liar. It's really, this episode is like, I was vibrating at a very high frequency of like, get her off my screen. I can't take it.
The discourse about Tamara Judge this week, in particular on Reddit, was scathing.
Good.
No one is buying what she's selling. Everyone is repelled and
She's wrong.
repugnant.
Every take she
Yeah.
has, every relationship she has, everything she's doing is wrong.
She's-
It's shocking. And she's so dug in. She's not even questioning anything. She's
You're
like,
right.
this is right. And I really think this, throughout this, she and Heather get into some of like the worst, like bad scene work I've ever seen two actors do. Like go to Howard Fine, learn how to say lines on a paper.
You did not just say Howard fucking
I
Fine.
did, because I was watching them and like because I wrote every time one of their dumb scenes came up where they were like, oh, wait a minute. Did you hear about the Jeff Lewis show? They're such idiots. And their hands were all over the place. I was like, you guys, if you're going to act, you fucking need a better writer and you need to learn how to behave like a normal person talking when you're delivering your lines, because you are ridiculous Muppets. They just looked insane. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Do you want to give like an elevator pitch on who Howard Fine is? For
Oh
the
God, it didn't
people
even
that
occur to
don't
me
know?
that how could you not know? I don't even know. I just took his like intro class. He's an acting teacher who had a studio in Los Angeles. I'm not sure if he still does.
It was the place.
In the early aughts, it was like where you go.
Yeah.
And Howard himself taught the intro class and the most advanced class. And then you got other teachers in the interim. So I took Howard's intro class and I think I learned something. I don't know. You never, if you like pay attention and try, you always learn something. But
Yeah.
I didn't come out of it with like, I don't know. He did. I remember there being like valuable exercises where you had to like work on something to bring to class, as opposed to some acting classes where you show up and like move like an animal for half an
Oh my
hour. And
God,
it's like,
I hated
oh
those
my
kinds of
fucking
classes.
God.
Yeah, it's
Or give
terrible.
each other massages, which was always like, what is
Terrible.
this? Get your hands off me, weirdos.
And
Anyways.
the other, Tamara also at the end of her little scene with Eddie, she just indulged in some casual, just some casual light misogyny when she jokes she should offer Ryan a tampon next time she sees him. Like, just, you're the worst. You're the worst kind of white woman, Tamara. Just shut the fuck up.
I didn't even understand that. Is the suggestion that he has a vagina and a period?
Yeah.
And is
yeah,
the
and that's a
suggestion
bad
that's
thing.
okay.
Yes. He's
But
not a man.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
She's awful. She's
ridiculous.
repugnant.
And I feel like Jen is onto her, because Jen FaceTimes with Ryan in her little getting ready part of the montage. You know, Ryan asked Jen how she feels about traveling with Tamara after his words. Tamara was being her juvenile drunk self at that dinner they were at. And Jen reports that she'd apologized at the tea, but then she says Tamara making an apology is just words, because she doesn't ever change her behavior. And I was like, oh my God, all the cash and prizes to Jen. She got it and she gets it. And she's seen it now. It's one of those things where when you see people in them, you can never unsee it and unfeel it. And,
Which is, again,
I'm
and like,
happy
it's
for
not,
her.
it's not lost on me, and I'm sure you. It's like of all, like, Jen has it. She has what it takes. And she's with Ryan. We know that she can see things, but she's still with Ryan.
I just stand by it's circumstantial.
Yeah.
I think if someone dropped a bag of $3 million on her lap, she would leave.
Oh.
But she has 5 kids, 6 kids,
Yeah.
and nowhere to live.
Yep.
So.
Yep. We have airport arrivals. It was very awkward between Heather and Katie, and Heather announces Shannon's birthday again.
With the age number included.
With the age.
Amazing.
So this is like, I mean, are we doing the count? Like every time if we had a drinking game, it would be, this is the first drink we would take.
I thought you meant the count
this
like
episode.
Sesame Street.
No.
Like 1, 60.
No, I mean like how, like if, if
Shots.
we said, how many times did Heather DeBro mention Shannon's birthday? You would have taken 17
right.
shots.
No driving
Get someone
tonight.
to drive you home. Right. Especially you, Shannon. Just kidding. Ooh, too soon?
I mean, I
Take
don't
an
think
Uber.
Shannon will fuck it up again. I'm waiting for Tamara. This
Bruh.
girl is just so much hubris. I'm like, your day is coming.
So much hubris.
And I'm
Especially,
not excited
they
for you.
Both she and Heather this episode, I felt like really Like, I don't know. I think I need an espresso martini. It was like, the veil's fallen, bro. You better.
I don't think
Are
Heather
you
would
coping
ever.
with
Yeah.
alcohol?
Yeah.
Mr.
But I
Bro?
don't think Heather would ever have a DUI. I do think Tamara's
No.
on her way. Miss Havasu herself is,
Fuck. Don't even get me started.
I didn't know the London Bridge was in Lake Havasu. What's happening? What is
don't
this
either.
planet?
I don't
Nothing
know,
makes
but like
sense.
I had notes about Havasu later. Believe me, I did.
Great.
Lots of bad British accents while we're getting ready to get on this plane and take off. And then,
By the way, I loved Gina's producer. There was a Gina confessional where she starts
Yes.
doing like, everybody loves the spot of tea and I love the Spice Girls. And the producer just goes, oh my God, let's move on. Like he
Yeah,
was just
honestly.
disgusted. And I was like, I love you.
honestly, he
Whoever
was
that
a
man
serious
is.
person. He was a serious person.
He's the only serious person.
Margie, how did you feel about Heather Dubrow's in-flight announcement?
I just thought it was I mean this whole episode, my Heather conspiracy theories are up and running again. I just think Heather's trying to rekindle an acting career. So I think her JetBlue moment was her trying to show that she can do commercial work. And then her weeping at dinner about, no one asked about me, not one of you. I'm fine, but that's not the point. It's like, oh my God, she's ridiculous.
She's
But
ridiculous.
Before that, we just had the moment, again, as someone who's going to the dentist first thing tomorrow morning, watching Emily brush her teeth and rinse with Dr. Pepper I think I turned inside out as a human being. I just
It
was
was
like,
Diet
"Ooh!"
Dr. Pepper, so there was no sugar in it.
It's disgusting.
I understand. I'm just like, but yes, I what in the Ohio dental hygiene is
For
that?
real.
Yeah.
Katie nailed that one.
I'm sure they would have given her a bottle of water. She may or may not have had one. Also, go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. Go to the bathroom.
Literally everything
Go
about
to the
that
bathroom.
2.5 second moment had my whole system like
Go to the bathroom.
on high alert. It
Don't
was
have
awful.
bare feet
Oh.
on a flight. And go to the fucking bathroom and brush your teeth.
It is disgusting in the bathroom, but it's like if you need to brush your teeth, like just I don't know. I just that was so gross. I can't even believe it.
Vile.
Yeah. What did you think of Heather's announcement?
I thought that she must be so high on her own supply to think that people outside of that cabin would know who the fuck she was.
Yes.
Now, granted, if they were flying out of LAX, which I assume they are, I don't think
They
that you
were.
can fly from John Wayne directly to Heathrow. But
No,
like,
it was LAX.
so I feel like I don't know a lot of people in the Bay Area that watch Bravo.
Those are not serious people.
They are not serious people. I feel like there are more people in LA that watch Bravo. Maybe
Yeah.
I just haven't like landed into my Oakland group of, Bravo watchers. I have some friends that watch Bravo that live here, literally stone's throws from my house. Shout out to Lauren. But like, a lot of people don't. I'll be like, oh, do you watch Bravo? Like, no. I'm all, okay. Well, like, what the fuck do you watch? I don't know. Am I not the serious person or are they not the serious people? My point is, I don't know that there were more than like 10 people on that flight that knew who she was outside of her cast.
I don't even think the PA announcement system was on. I think like a little kid, she was like, can I make an announcement? And they're like, okay, sure. And then they handed her the little mic thing and she pressed the button and it wasn't on. And I don't know.
I really hope you're right. I never even thought about that for a minute because I was like, why are you subjecting everyone to this?
I'm picturing after 14 hours in the air and I'm in coach. I just, someone doing a hilarious self-indulgent bit. I would be like, leave me alone.
Yes,
Can
especially.
we just
right.
land and go through customs now, please?
Hot in Cleveland guest stars Heather Dubrow. I'm Married with Children guest star Heather Dubrow. I'm Malibu Country guest star Heather Dubrow. Okay, what else?
Real
I'm not-
Housewives
listen.
of Orange County, honey.
Yes,
That's
I'm
what you are.
Real Housewives of Orange County Heather Dubrow, fine. But like, if you don't know, like, there's no one is going to be like, oh shit. Oh, is that Terry Dubrow's wife? Like, no one's going to do. No one knows you, lady. No one knows you.
Is that the woman from the Disneyland photography?
Oh my God, yeah.
Is that
Was
the
she?
lady who was in prom photos with her husband?
Was that the
Whose
woman
marriage
who
is
had-
doing great, according to those photos, at least.
Exactly.
Idiot.
God. They get to the hotel and they have high tea waiting for them. I was so jealous. Like I said
was
last week, I love
beautiful.
high tea. And then they get their room assignments by picking their teas out of the bowl. Fine. And then
By the
Heather
way,
takes,
the lady who brought the bowl, that's the best French accent like I've ever heard in my life. I was like,
was
every
beautiful.
British accent can go to hell. This woman just showed you up completely. I forget what she said. I wish I'd written it down, but anyways, it was
stunning. You're right.
she was
French
so,
is beautiful.
it
French
is.
sounds beautiful in French, and it sounds beautiful when you are speaking another language, but with a French accent.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Anyways, she was great. I'm
Stunning.
so sorry I took that detour because I didn't write down what she said, and that's too bad. Anyways, they go to their rooms and they're gorgeous. All of their rooms.
Yeah,
are gorgeous.
and Heather's like, "Oh, I did so good." Like she happened to pick the room key that coordinated with that penthouse. And so she's the one that gets the accolades for the room being good.
She's ridiculous.
I'm so triggered by her, Margie. I'm so triggered by personalities like this.
Well, she and Tamara in
And I
this whole
talk about it in
episode-
therapy a lot. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, and she and Tamara this whole episode, again, I'm just bothered by people who are always putting on a show. I'm like, can you just please be yourself? Because like everything that you're pointing out is like, yeah, that's Heather producing herself, writing for herself, watching herself perform as she performs. It's just like, this is so exhausting.
Yeah.
Can you just be a real person who traveled and who's either excited or tired or some combination of both? Like this whole thing, it's just exhausting. So tired.
I'm only going to mention this because I wasn't sure. I didn't know about this until like the last, I want to say 10, 15 years. Emily put her suitcase directly on the bed.
Ooh, she did?
Yes, she did. And that is the exact reaction I had as well.
Well, a woman who brushes her teeth in her seat and rinses with Diet Dr. Pepper, I would expect her to put her disgusting ass cootie covered bag on
thank you.
her bed.
Thank you.
Blow
Thank you.
me. Gross.
I never thought about suitcases until I went to my friend Sarah's house. I think I was on my way to get married. And I stopped in Long Beach before I went to San Diego because I drove down from the Bay Area. And she had a blanket on the bed specifically for me to put my suitcase on. And I was like, oh. And she's like, yeah, suitcases are disgusting.
Yeah.
They're like shoes. They're like purses. They're covered
dragged
in filth.
around behind you.
And I thought about it and I was like, I am mortified with myself that I never thought about this out of my own, just like common sense. And I felt a little bit of shame, but like I try to have a non-shoe house. And I also never put my purse on the floor. And I don't like to put my purse on the bed. You know, like even though I don't put my purse on the floor, it's still a purse. It's still dirty. Anyway, if I'm packing at home, I put a designated towel or packing blanket on my bed first. And we have a valet in our guest room for people to put their suitcases on now. But before, I did not. Yeah, like I. And then Shannon passes out British-themed gifts.
Oh, yeah. Burberry scarves and Union Jack bucket hats.
My God, the bucket hat.
And everyone had something to say about it, which was just like, everyone get out of everyone else's business for a second here.
I know.
It's just a scarf. And I did love Jen. She's like, I would have taken a knockoff. And everybody else comments about how, again, this is where Tamara enters into a lie, the first one of thousands in this episode. But she, just in her making a joke about Shannon buying these Burberry scarves, she says, Shannon's dishing out scarves like candy when she's in a $75,000 lawsuit and says she doesn't have the money to pay for it. That's not what she said. Shannon offered to pay him the full amount. He said no mutual non-disparagement, and now they're in a law. That's not what she said, Tamara. So this has nothing to do. It's just insane.
Yep.
And Heather, also, too, is like, take mine back and put it towards the John Jansen facelift fund. It's like, okay, go ahead and take a swipe at her. You fucking... She's Congratulations on being like beautiful. I don't know what to say. Congratulations. Yeah. Now what?
Congratulations on the fact that like you were born after Shannon was born. And
cheers. Good job.
Right. And that if I don't think that DeBrose had a facelift, but like if she hasn't talked about it, and Shannon has, and like Shannon looks great, Heather looks great. I don't want to be either one of those women. I'm just saying that like she's taking digs, and I think she knows it.
Of course she does. She's taking digs at everyone, at Katie, at Shannon, at Emily, at Gina. Any chance she gets, she takes like a weird, like you're saying, she takes a swipe that if confronted, she could justify, I suppose.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
she's very smart in choosing the words that she chooses so she can have it both ways, where she can really harm someone and also be like, what? Who, me? I would never.
Exactly.
I'm
That's
Snow White.
exactly
Fuck
what she
you.
can do. Yeah,
We're
fuck you
not.
is right. So then we have Jeff Lewis Gate. This is how I'm going to refer to every fucking scandal on this show. I'm telling you. Heather and Tamara Tamara, of course, brings up the Jeff Lewis podcast that Shannon was on.
This is the first bad scene work. This is how it laid out. Tamara
It
goes,
was
are you going to
awful.
bring up Heather goes, the Jeff Lewis thing? And then Heather waves both of her hands in front of her face and goes, oh, wait a minute. Did you hear the clip about the loan? And Tamara goes, oh my God, yes. Like, that is, for anyone who's curious, that is bad acting 101. Like, it was just so, the way they were standing, everything about it was just so stilted and terrible and planned, and I hated it.
It was. Apparently, Heather's main gripe is that she feels like Shannon manipulated her by coming to her room that night in Guerneville, not Sonoma. They were in Guerneville. They were not in Sonoma. And that's not to diss Guerneville and it's not to diss Sonoma. I'm just saying you weren't in Sonoma. You were in Guerneville when Shannon came to your room that night and wanted to show you the picture of her face that was bloody.
Shannon had just found out that John Jansen has video footage of the night she was wasted and intended to release it. That's what she had just found out. In addition to the lawsuit going forward, she had just found out that there was video evidence of her probably really in a state that night, and she knew it. If Heather interpreted that visit of her, Shannon in her robe, puffy and distraught, if she interpreted that as manipulation, then she doesn't understand human emotions. She just doesn't. Because Shannon does have a propensity to manipulate. That wasn't it. That was a woman in the midst of a true breakdown.
Yeah, I had to remind myself. I am aware that like Shannon can be manipulative. Shannon can exhibit behaviors that I have seen in the problem drinkers in my life, the people that are proclaimed alcoholics. Like, I understand that she is capable of manipulating me and manipulating other people by the nature of the behavior that accompanies that kind of that problem drinking, you know? But I don't think that she had any ulterior motives that night. I agree with you. When she went in Guerneville to show her the picture.
She was coming to terms with the fact that the man she loved for 4 years and the man who claimed to love her and want to marry her just months ago, she was coming to terms with the fact that he's now solely out to punish and humiliate her. And the only way to process that's that realization and reckon with it is to discuss it with other people because it's too confusing. And so she brought that very vulnerably to Heather, and Heather responded very gently. And so I'm with Shannon where I was like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
So everything is up for grabs to be weaponized by both Tamara and Heather. They're both equally vile. And again, I'm so sorry for them when their time comes, you know, the way Shannon was such a dick to Gina and now her time has come and it's like, man,
yeah,
I don't know what that's going to look like for Heather when the pictures of Terry getting sucked off by some nurse are released. Remember the picture of Michael Darby in the hotel room? The girl took it from.
Yes, I did. Ew, his little
Like,
butt flaps.
Yeah,
Gross.
exactly. His old man butt. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's coming for them, but like I'm
coming
always
for Heather?
Worried about people who are this excited and like this, they have like a bloodlust for other people's pain and downfall. I'm like, ugh.
I mean, we see Tamara. Tamara is just like no one likes her. I just can't. I wonder if Heather will be caught on video as a Karen, like berating like a barista or something, or someone that works at like a cosmetics counter.
I doubt it, but maybe, because there's certainly all those stories about her being aggressive with the help. It's something's coming, and I think I don't know what or when, but it's just, and this is so contrived. This whole Heather claims she feels lied to because Shannon used slightly different language on Jeff Lewis's podcast than she did with Heather. when addressing whether or not John might have heard the accident. And I wrote it down. So they showed Heather talking with Shannon, and Heather said, "Do you believe in your heart that he didn't hear the accident?" And Shannon said, "I don't know." And then on the Jeff Lewis show, Jeff said, "How did he not hear it? Has that ever occurred to you?" And Shannon said, "I haven't really thought about it." So her responses were, "I don't know," and "I haven't really thought about it." Like, what is the gotcha moment here? Where's the lie? Because Heather led her into this. Do you believe that he didn't hear it? And then she just answered, "I don't know," in two different ways. And I don't think she did think about it. I think it was just another piece of information to add to the file of like, this guy sucks and he hates me now. This man who I loved now hates me.
Yeah, he
and
hates me.
thinks nothing of me. I'm trash to him.
Yeah.
So I don't think she really broke down like, did he hear it? Let me do some decibel testing from the corner of the accident back to his front door. I think it was just another piece of information of like this, it's so real how much he doesn't give a fuck about me. It's so real how much he wants to torture me, you know? Right?
Totally.
Or
Absolutely.
I don't know. This just seemed insane to me.
It was insane.
She said it caused a trust issue. She's like, "Where is the truth?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
She is
Both sides are the same.
projecting. If she's going to talk about this, the trust issue, this
What?
bitch, I swear. Oh, God.
And Tamara's right there with her going like, she was lying. She knew. I'm like, lying about what? She knew about what?
Yeah.
She literally said, "I don't know. I haven't thought about it." Like, what are you guys talking about? Again, it's just all bad scene work. And then Heather, culminating her bad scene work, goes, "Am I being used?" And I was like, I cannot follow this. I cannot follow what you're upset about, how you feel used. What are you talking about?
She's grasping at straws.
That was crazy.
Then we go to Boatgate, and Shannon asks them to take pictures on the bridge in their hideous hats, and I die. I'm sorry, but I would fucking die. And also hard pass on this boat. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yums. If you think that stuff like that is fun, I try very hard when I travel abroad to not be a tourist. Like, I don't even pack sensible shoes. I would die. And
the bucket hats were mortifying.
Like, and you're not an episode of Friends, for fuck's sake, okay?
The rocket boat seemed like SpawnCon because, like, there's no way anyone chooses that. Of all of the amazing things you can do in London, I've never even heard of the rocket boat on the Thames.
They have something like that. They have something like that similarly in San Francisco.
Sure,
and
but
I think my friend Lee had to do one as like a team building exercise when she worked for a tech company. Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's just not my thing. But it's for tourists, and I don't know.
Just how is it? It's so weird. Like it was just weird. However, I will say that tour guide was so nice. She made a great showing for the rocket boat company. She was great.
Shannon can't. Sorry. Oh, sorry. No, you go.
Just when the boat started to speed up and Heather started to be like, "I hate this. I want out of this." And Emily goes in her confessional, "I love the boat ride. I had to sit through a lot of fancy fucking dinners, so enjoy the boat ride." You know, like coming at Heather. And I was like, yeah.
That's when you said earlier, like, we don't see a lot of glimpses of Heather's real personality. This is Heather's real personality.
Well, and it's also hilarious because when they were leaving the hotel, Tamara was like, "Oh, it's raining. The boat ride's going to suck." And Heather was like, "Oh, come on. It's going to be great." Cut to boat ride. And she's like, "I hate this. Get me off of this. Aren't they supposed to stop when I wave my hand?"
Yeah.
You idiot. You're
She's
just no fun. It's like, I get it. I wouldn't choose the rocket boat either. But if I'm on it, I'm going to have a good time. I'm not going to just be like a dick about
like
it.
if I'm getting
just
paid.
Ride the ride and get off and shut up.
I'm getting paid to go stay at the Mayfair in London, and then I'm getting paid to have a party bus take me to this fucking boat, and then I'm getting paid to go on the boat.
And again, the woman was so nice. She knew it was raining. She knew this was not going to be the most fun
It's London.
excursion. She tried her best and she did a lovely job. Anyways.
I just, like, at the very beginning, Shannon couldn't sit by herself, like when they're trying to figure out. And I was like, what an odd place for unresolved trauma to just crop up.
Yeah, she was whining like a little kid. She's like,
I don't want to sit by myself.
And then Jen, the fully unhealed Al-Anon in the group was like, okay, I'll get up. You take my seat.
Yep.
I was like, I
Yep.
get you, Jen. I see you.
And wasn't this didn't Heather also say something about Heather's or Shannon's birthday on this boat ride too?
Oh, yeah. I think
Okay.
it was just like anytime there was a camera up, Heather was like, hello, Shannon's 60. What else is going on? She's ridiculous.
Yeah, they do the original London Bridge is in Lake Havasu. And I was like, I will never go to Lake Havasu. I can't imagine what would get me to Lake Havasu. And
I would go, but like
before the orange shit gibbon was ever elected to the highest, job in the land that we live in, before like being scared of people wearing 1776 lions, not sheep t-shirts in public to scare the shit out of people like me. Before that was a thing, I didn't want to go to Lake Havasu. Before the last 9-10 years happened, I knew I should fear for my life to think about going to Lake Havasu. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah,
when I hear Havasu,
it draws
I think
a particular crowd.
Yeah.
It draws the NASCAR population.
Which NASCAR, I would go to a NASCAR race.
Yeah, no, but that's
Anytime,
what I'm
but-
saying is like it's
But Havasu is like the Coachella rally.
the
that they
Vanderbilt
had over
Rules
the
cast
weekend.
went to Havasu and they had a very they didn't have the flashback that they showed of Vicky getting hit in the head with a football thrown from like another
God.
boat. I don't know. It looks lovely, and it also doesn't. It's not. I'm just like not a person who like parties on boats, so I don't think I'd be invited anyway.
I don't know, man. It scares me.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with Heather. I'd rather do a lot of things than go on that boat. Listen, just last night, I was on the Harrods website looking at Christmas ornaments. Yep.
That's fun.
I'd rather go to Kew Gardens, Tate, Liberty, Harrods, a lot of things within that boat. But it's Shannon, whatever.
Well,
anyway,
but it's also work.
yes, it's
I think
also work.
Rocket Boat said, we'll do this for free and give you some spending money for the city. And they were like, great.
Totally.
Then we go to our like getting ready for dinner montage, and we have Tamara in like a unitard, a very strange unitard that is like a unitard from the musical Cats with its whole back cut out. It's very.
I thought it was really cute.
Listen, she wore it well. I just felt like I don't know how I would sit in that. I don't know how I would eat dinner in that. I don't know how I would wash my hands in that. I don't know if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to take it completely off. Like
do.
the whole thing was just like. This just seems like a very high demand piece of clothing.
It's a high maintenance, yeah, for sure.
And
it
if
is a
you
high
hit-
maintenance.
Yeah. And like
outfit.
if you're eating, it just like, I don't know, the whole thing. Anyways. And then Katie and Jen are getting glam, and Gina seems to condemn Jen for getting glam. It's just like,
I was so
Gina,
mad at
you
this.
had money problems can you just like leave it alone? It's probably Ryan's money she's spending, or Katie is treating her, or just
Katie
shut up
is-
and get out of it.
Katie
Leave
is
it alone.
Katie is treating her. I would bet my life
For
on it.
sure.
Katie is fully treating her to the glam.
Yeah. That's what it looks
And-
like.
Yeah, and also I want to say, and as someone that I don't want to I feel like I don't want to say I'm a makeup artist. I did my time as a makeup
You
artist.
are. You're
back
very
in the day,
educated
but like
and skilled.
I just when I heard Gina say like learn what they teach you and then you do it yourself for free, I was like, fuck you, Gina. You don't know. And also like you don't get to say like there are memes about you and
I
your
was just gonna say, I'm like,
makeup
Gina,
and hair.
you're
ma'am.
not a great
You don't get to
promotional
say anything. I
tool.
don't say anything. I would never, if I was to do makeup again, I would need to practice a lot. But it is a skill. It is an artistry. And I will not have her shit on it. Gina.
No, and I get what she's saying that like, but again, it's just hard to know if I don't think Jen did pay to bring glam in.
No, she did not.
And it's also none of Gina's business if she
It's
did.
not.
And Jen's problems are much bigger than like, I don't know. And Gina, I'm so proud of you now that you have it all figured out, now that
Oh,
you've
yeah.
sold 2 houses. But like, you better hope your income stream doesn't get interrupted, because this attitude of like, "Ugh, that's bad money management." I'm like, do you remember you 2 years ago? Like, have some fucking empathy. It's so weird
Dude.
how she's so empathetic towards Shannon. And I really appreciated how she connected with her at the end of this episode. But with
Yeah.
Jen, she's like, you're doing it wrong. You made mistakes. It's your fault. It's like, Gina, you went through this the same way. Like, I can't even, I don't know. Everyone condemning Jen is just like, yeah, whatever. It made me uncomfortable and just
It was
like, it's so
it was just the most
bullying.
ridiculous thing to waste breath on.
Yeah, agreed. It's just so
Glamgate.
gossipy and stupid. It's like,
It's really stupid and really gossipy. We're so used to all these fools bringing glam on. It's like the fourth wall has been broken with all that shit. I
Yeah.
don't remember who first did it, what franchise it was, but it's been happening the whole time. It's how the sausage is made on these shows. Katie is rooming with her. She fully was like, hey, you want glam? I would do the same thing. If I had glam,
it's more fun
it's
to have
way
everyone
more
in the
fun.
room get it.
Absolutely.
Just like it's more fun when everybody's putting their makeup on by themselves together. It's just like
Right.
whatever is going on in the room, it's more fun if everybody's
Exactly.
involved in the same thing.
Exactly.
It just was not, it did not deserve the condemnation that Gina leveled on it. And then they go to dinner and oh my gosh, those beautiful signature cocktails. They looked like little
Yeah.
cherry blossoms. It was
They
so
were stunning.
This restaurant was amazing. The glassware was beautiful. They had a curated 5-course tasting meal. And then we get into more bad scene work. Go to Howard
producer.
Fine.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
Tamara goes to Heather.
I mean,
Oh my God, I wanted to ask you. And Heather goes, what? And Tamara goes, Gina came over and reported her mammogram results, but I didn't get to hear about yours. And Heather goes, well, no one ever actually asked me. And Tamara goes, I'm asking you like a real hero. I was like, oh, you guys. And it backfired because everyone was genuinely concerned. Everyone, like Shannon and Jen especially, were like, what happened? Oh my God, what's wrong? And then Heather says that she has an elevated risk. And Tamara just flaving her way through Heather's speech was like, 40%, that's really high. You know, like looking around at everyone. And then Tamara is like, well, do you get a voluntary mastectomy? And I was like, where is that coming from? And again, from my experience and possibly yours too, like when they tested me for the BRCA gene because that's the next step that you do. Like, again, I just think this is so irresponsible. Like this has got to be demystified because it's just going to terrorize every woman to be like, oh, I'm just not going to go get tested because then I'll have to get a double mastectomy. No, you don't. That was crazy. It was just crazy.
yeah.
And Heather claims that she's feeling hurt, that no one's worried about me. And she goes, I was happy that everyone was okay. And I would never make it about myself. But to be honest, I'm going to make it about myself. Not one of you looked at me and said, what happened with you? Not one of you. Well, great news. And immediately Shannon and Jen apologized. They're like, we're so sorry. We misunderstood. But she goes, and then she's like, I don't want to belabor the point. And I was like, oh, don't you? Because you had
she
Tamara
does. Please.
vamp you.
You would literally love to. You would literally sign up. You would apply for that position.
There was like a
you
full
could,
overture, like a
unpaid.
musical overture to this whole production. And now you're like, I don't want to belabor the point. I'm like, yes, you do. It's the only thing you want to do.
Seriously. And Gina was so right by saying, why is Heather full hipping right now by waiting on this? And it's true. Oh, this woman.
Well, and Gina's confused why Heather would wait so long. It was a week ago. Why would she wait a week to
Right,
bring
if
up
it
how
was
hurt she was by
really-
this?
right.
Especially because she just berated Gina for waiting too long to divulge information about Katie to her.
Yep.
And this wasn't shown, but she had just talked to Emily saying, look, if something's bothering you, just call me. And it's like, Heather,
You don't get it both ways, bitch.
Just call them.
Just call
And
them.
Yeah, like
Get on the group chat. I'm sure there was a group chat. Hey, we're meeting. This is the address. See you at 11.
talk about all for camera. This has nothing to
Right.
do with her actual feelings. This has to do with her wanting to have a crying scene on camera so that Malibu Country can come calling again. Good fucking luck, dude. You failed. Go to Howard Fine.
Go to Howard, fine. Now, Katie comes in with some legitimate concerns and says she knows nothing about her family history. And she shares with the group that she's going to Korea in April for her 40th birthday. and to meet her birth mom,
who is 55 years
who
old.
was a child. Who was
15,
a child.
which means she was pregnant when she was probably 14, unless she got pregnant on her 15th birthday.
Yep.
Holy babies having
traumatic.
babies. Good
How
Lord.
traumatic
And she was
is that?
working in a factory at 15.
Yep. Yep. Worked up until the moment she had her baby.
And then she tried to keep her. She had her for 3 days. And then at age 15, as a full-time factory worker, was unable to fulfill her responsibilities as a mom, or her, I can't even imagine where that pregnancy came from. I don't know.
I don't either.
But
And exactly.
Katie said that she just wants to go over there and tell her that she's fine. And Katie said, if I gave my baby up for adoption, that's what I would want to know, that they were raised right, loved, and cared for. I just want her to know I'm great and I'm not mad at you.
Yep. I had to remind myself right now, as we're talking about this, to breathe. I noticed there was tension in my jaw. This is big. This is real shit right here that Katie's talking about.
And I think I've shared a little bit about this, I think, on this podcast before, that my mom's younger sister got pregnant at one of their other sister's wedding by the groomsmen, one of the best man. And it was, they were an Irish Catholic family in a time where it was not okay to be pregnant out of wedlock and be a young woman pregnant out of wedlock. So they sent her away to one of those Catholic places where they say, shame on you for being pregnant. And then you have to have your baby, and then they take it away from you immediately. And my aunt, B, which is not her real name is Loretta, but my mom and her twin sister were so little when Loretta came on the scene, they couldn't say her name. So they called her Baby. And then it just became B. And my sister and I only knew her as Aunt B. Anyways, who gives a shit? What am I talking about? My point is, Aunt B, her daughter found her later in life the same way Katie is pursuing finding her mom here, and expressed the same thing. Like, I understand what happened and I'm not mad and I'm okay. And I'd love to be involved. I'd love for you to be involved in my life if that works for you. And it did, until my aunt's daughter had her own babies and got to keep them. And it wrenched my aunt in a way where she completely disconnected, because she couldn't watch her own daughter, get to keep the baby. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was so heartbreaking. Anyways, these situations are so fraught, and everyone should be in therapy. I think that's just the bottom line.
That's the
Aunt
bottom
B
line.
didn't get to go to therapy, so she just did a lot of drugs and ordered lots of things off the Home Shopping Network. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
When you're shamed by Catholic nuns for 9 months, as if there wasn't, the guy didn't have to go up there and sit around and be yelled at.
Fuck
just
no.
be.
No.
Bullshit. Anyways. Heather, the materialistic fuck that she is, asks Katie what she's going to bring her mom. It's like, she's bringing herself. What are you talking about?
Dude.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Yeah. And also, not the time to bring that up,
Right?
maybe.
I don't know. A Voluspa candle. I don't know.
Right.
What do you mean? What am I bringing? What do you recommend, Heather? What should I bring to my Korean adoptive teenage pregnancy mom?
Oh my God. And Emily has to point out that Katie and Heather are chatting. And Heather says she asked Katie about her family history because it's interesting. Too bad Heather's not. Heather, I have news for you.
Too bad Katie's not, she said.
Too bad Katie's not interesting.
So rude.
Yes. I have news for you. Neither are you. Katie is way more interesting than you are, and she wouldn't throw out Nobu, I bet. She's not going to throw out Wagyu beef.
But it's
Wagyu.
exactly what you're saying. It's just Heather taking an unnecessary dig. This is Katie talking about being given up for adoption, moved to Georgia as a baby, as a Korean baby,
with white
being
parents.
raised in the South.
Yep.
And Heather, it's so reductive
Yep.
just to be like, well, she's not interesting. I'm like, just the facts of her existence alone are fascinating.
Yep.
Even if her personality was cardboard, she's already got an incredible story. Heather is just so, anyways,
she's not a serious person.
She's not a serious person. And then we get into this segment where Tamara brings up the lawsuit only to scream at Shannon, you're not the victim. It's like Shannon didn't bring this up, didn't want to talk about it, but now it's on the table. And they bring up this Jeff Lewis show thing. And Tamara's like, well, if you did want to talk about it, you went on Jeff Lewis show and talked about it for an hour. And Shannon just said, per her attorney's recommendation, she cleared things up. And I got lost in all the weeds of promissory notes and loan details.
So many weeds to get lost in. My
But
God.
then we lead to more bad scene work where Tamara goes, there was something you said that's a lie. And Heather goes, I'm not sure it's a lie. And then Heather reveals the conversation from Sonoma where she showed the photo. Guerneville, excuse me. And Shannon
I'm just kidding.
Felt instantly betrayed. It was really heartbreaking to see because she's like, I came to you because I needed someone to confide in that night. And now you're turning this into a scandal. Like, it's absurd. And Heather's fixated on Shannon saying, I never thought about that regarding John Jansen hearing her accident, and Heather says that made her feel used. And that Shannon came to her only because she wanted her side on camera. I'm like, did you see her that night? She was not okay. She was absolutely shattered. What are you talking about? And then Shannon says in her confessional it was a mistake to confide in Heather.
Yeah.
She is certain of that now. So
it's a huge mistake. Huge. And I would say that, like, given their history, Heather's always been a fucking asshole to Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
Where were they? At Lizzie's house or something? They were at that dinner party. Was it Shannon's first or second season? And it's the one where she leaves. She storms up the stairs. You'll all see the truth. You'll all see the truth. And Heather's like, should we call an ambulance? Is she having a psychotic breakdown? Happy 60th birthday, Shannon. Are you having a psychotic breakdown? Are you using? She is going to take every opportunity she has to chip away at this woman's weak spots.
Yeah.
And Heather is a piece of shit and not a good person.
Well, and Shannon says, like, how does Heather turn that into something about her?
Exactly.
It's like, what are you even talking about? And Jen
My God.
echoes that, saying, like, Heather feeling used because Shannon needed her as a sounding board makes me question Heather as a person, as a confidant. Like, that's just like, it's insane. And Heather
insane.
and Tamara are the only people who can make sense of it, because I certainly can't. And then Tamara claims that Shannon has always been directing behind the scenes, imploring Tamara to say good things or bad things about David. And I'm like, all you're telling us, Tamara, is that you did it. All you're telling us is that you have no integrity, and that if Shannon did come to you and say, will you say this about David on screen, that you did it.
Yeah, we know that you're capable of doing this. And so why wouldn't Heather ask you to do the same thing?
And what are you saying right now? Who directed you to say this? Do you have any thoughts of your own? Like, now you're just a puppet. Congratulations. You outed yourself as a puppet. Stupid.
Yeah. Tamara just insists that Shannon was caught in a lie, and Shannon gets up to leave. She storms up from the table, gets up to go leave, and Tamara laughs at her. And she's just so low, dude. She's like so fucking low. She's like suitcase scum low, dude. She's so low. She's disgusting. She's the bottom of your shoe. Gross. After walking in downtown San Francisco all day.
I mean, because Tamara brought this up at the dinner, and then Shannon really earnestly emotionally says that she needed someone to confide in that day. And she says to Heather, I chose to talk to you. And Tamara goes, you're not the victim, Shannon. And that's when Shannon leaves. And Tamara's like, she was caught in a lie. And again, I'm still just like, what lie? I don't even understand the premise of your objection here. And Gina just says, she's like, why does the lie matter right now? And it's like, that's a great question too. And then Shannon, it was kind of funny because she was behind those slats that were lit like Cell Block Tango from the musical Chicago. And she said something so powerful, and it was so undercut by like how it was lit. But Shannon said, I'm working on myself. Victims sit back and feel sorry for themselves. I am moving forward with my life. And she prefaced that by saying, don't you dare call me a victim ever again, Tamara Judge. I am not wallowing in my bullshit. I'm working. And I believe her. She's doing so much. This is a different, she's not resolved yet, but she's a
work in progress.
She's is. And in like visible progress. Mm-hmm. Now, does she go to the bar and order a Diet Coke, yay, and a Belvedere and soda? Uh-oh, yes. But, progress, not perfection, man. She got out of there. She didn't let them beat her up. And at the end of this, she says something to the effect of like, I'm done fighting this. If Tamara wants to use her platform to call me a liar and a whatever, that's fine. I know who I am. I'm working on myself and like, I'm just fucking done. And I was like, yay, Shannon.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
That is what they call detachment, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope
Oh
she
my
can stick
God.
to it.
And then Shannon tells Gina about the text she found from Alexis about the Jim Bellino lawsuit from 2018. And she found it because she was sending, when in the process of sending the text message that said, you are cordially not invited to go with us to London. That's when she saw the last time that she had received a text from Alexis was in 2018, when she said, hey, by the way, tomorrow morning, my husband, Jim Bellino, and I are going to sue you and Tamara.
Mm-hmm.
So
followed up with the words like we and our
Yep.
lawyer and all this stuff.
Yep.
It's like there's no mistake.
it was
here.
no mistake.
It was
No.
not a typo. This was,
And
yeah.
it's again like the fact that that Tamara is, oh my God, Tamara is fully JD Vance, dude.
How?
Tamara is JD fucking Vancing. JD Vance runs for whatever, like back in 2020 or 2016 or whenever. In this, I don't fucking know. That when he was like, Trump is going to destroy America. And now he is fully like
VP.
his fucking VP and won't admit that like Trump lost the election in 2020. Right. And so Tamara is now like best friends with Jesus Jugs.
Yeah.
Even though she paid her $500,000 fucking dollars. She paid Jim Bellino $500,000 because of a lawsuit that Alexis and her husband at the time brought against Tamara. But Tamara's going to side with her right now.
Yeah, it is weird. Shannon does say like Tamara's in cahoots with Alexis Bellino, and I don't know why. And I was like, me neither.
Yeah.
And Alexis, there's no world where she comes back to the show, right?
That no one wants her.
Well, and if John Jansen's whole thing is I don't want to be on this, like,
he's not a serious person, but yeah,
he's not.
Exactly.
But like, would Bravo pay money to have a guy? Like, I just don't see how this,
I don't know,
like works in the interest of the show. So
it doesn't. I think that Tamara is not going to come back, and I don't think Alexis is going to come back either.
I wonder. Tamara just seems like a cockroach, man. Like she cannot be killed. She's good reality TV. She really does.
I don't know if she is anymore.
Just in the shamelessness of being willing to be a villain. It's like how I felt about like Spidey on the Hills way back in the day. I was like, enough. You guys are exhausting. But without them, it reveals how boring the rest of the cast is. Like if we just have Lauren Conrad and Whitney Port on the Hills, God. It's a real snooze.
Yeah.
But with, people who are willing to be full villains with no conscience and no concern about karma. And Tamara is like a unicorn on that front. She does not give a rip about
Okay.
her.
I can see that.
She'll do anything. It's amazing.
I can see that.
It's crazy.
But yeah, it's gross. Oh, you have anything else to say about this episode?
Just that I appreciated Gina, who, understands exactly how a bad relationship can lead to a DUI and understands how the recovery period on the other side of that is complex. And I thought she was really sweet and supportive of Shannon, telling her basically you're a strong woman and you're handling yourself well, even as she's having her Belvedere and soda. Like, it is like there is notable progress. Like alcohol, it's, she'll be done when she's done and maybe never, but it's really made her come into her own, as opposed to like Alexis, who I was realizing like, I don't know anything about her outside of John Jansen. She's been on this whole season and I don't know a damn thing about her. I don't know if she still believes in Jesus. I don't know what her hobbies are. Everything that we learned about her is connected to John Jansen.
Yeah.
I only know that she works out at a gym with John Jansen and that John Jansen is like, it's just weird, right?
I didn't miss her at all of the episode. I didn't. I really didn't. I was about to say I feel for her because I feel like she's being used as well. But I also feel like she's being a willing participant as well, and she is very lost. I think she was right. I think her gut was screaming at her that night when she said to John, like, we weren't supposed to meet right now. We were supposed to meet later. It's like she just ended her engagement. Her mom just died. You know,
and she's just trying to bypass that pain
yeah, exactly.
by getting engaged, because that's fun and exciting.
Yeah.
But you're engaged to John Jansen.
John Jansen?
Like, that guy does
Gross.
not have a great track record of being a real sweetie, you know?
So I don't know if the rest of the cast is going to see the text message that Shannon found as a huge smoking gun like Gina did. We'll see.
I mean, it's just proof that, like, Alexis
Tamara's disgusting.
that Alexis is a liar and Tamara is fully happily aligned with her. So, anyways.
What else did you watch? Oh, go ahead. Yes,
I was going to ask you the same thing. What else did you watch?
Saturday Night Live last night with Ariana Grande and Stevie Nicks. Yeah, I thought it was good.
She was really funny.
She's really good.
I suddenly
really
was like,
freaking
oh, I
good.
totally see why Pete Davidson and you like had fun together.
Yeah, I think I know one of her songs, maybe two. I want to see Wicked. I've never seen the musical. I want to see the movie. It looks really good.
So good.
I do only know her from her appearances on SNL, and she's fucking hilarious.
She was
her
so
comedic
funny.
timing is good. She's really funny.
Her impressions
are insane.
Celine Dion, like, she was so funny. She was really funny.
Jennifer Coolidge was great.
Oh my God.
Like, she's really good. I have to give her that. Yeah. And
I was really impressed.
Yeah. And then a lot of Below Deck Sailing Yacht this season with the SA. We haven't gotten there yet, but it's coming. But like, I can't imagine that kind of lifestyle. But we just finished the one where Tom got fired because he let the boat drag and didn't wake up Captain Glenn.
It's so hard for me to remember who's
it's
who
okay,
from Below
honestly.
Deck to Below Deck, but yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. In the middle of the night, he let it.
Yeah. And it's just, oh my God. And that show makes me feel really old. Like, I would never be able to drink the amount that they drink on the nights that they go into town.
Sailors, man. I'm telling you,
Holy
that community
crap.
can drink.
I just I had alcohol poisoning just watching. I'm like, oh my God, I would never survive.
Alcohol poisoning by proxy.
Honestly. And then I had put Summer House away for a while because I think, I don't know why. I think I just was watching other things, picked that back up, and I'm at the point where it's Labor Day weekend. They're about to throw the prom, and this is the last hurrah before Kyle and Amanda get married. So I'm wrapping up season 6 is what I'm saying.
Great.
So by the time we meet next week, maybe I'll have started season 7. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's what I watched. How about you?
I watched The Golden Bachelor, which was like, it's really sweet. It's just, there's so, like, loneliness is like a real thing. And I do think, like, in older populations, especially widows, it seems like there's a real, watching this community of men hang out is like really heartening. They really care about each other. When the guys got kicked off this week, like, the other men ran out there to hug them, and they were like, like, it's really just a show about finding community at that stage of life. I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. And then I watched the Menendez brothers documentary, which was fucking fascinating. And again, the TV series was amazing, but this is just as good. It's really, really well done. And then I needed to laugh a little. So I wound up watching a series on Peacock called Mr. Throwback. And it's written by these guys who I worked with once, and whose every show they've ever written makes me die laughing. But I watched every episode in a row. I just was like, I don't know if I was just in the mood for it or what was going on, but it is so funny and so stupid. And they get a great performance out of Steph Curry. There's an incredible stunt cast. If you like sports, like, you are in for a fucking treat. It's hilarious. It was just a joy. So, and it's only 6 episodes. It was just like, it was a blast. I loved it.
I keep meaning to watch it.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I can't say enough.
Heard.
Like, the jokes are so funny, and it's so dense with jokes. Like, it was exactly what I needed. I was looking for, like, I just want to be, like, taken out of my body with laughter. And
okay, good
it got
to know.
me there, and it was great.
We also wrapped up Righteous Gemstones, and I think it's probably
Oh.
over. I mean, the last episode they showed, I was like, this got to be the series finale. This is not just a season finale. And it made me sad, but
Yeah.
I understood. They got where they wanted. Everything worked out the way Eli wanted it to, and I was very happy to see it. But that cast is fucking brilliant.
Yes,
So
that's an amazing. And they like each other in real life
You
too,
can
which I
tell.
always love.
yeah. Walter Goggins. Is that his name? Walter? Is he the one
Walton.
that plays Walton?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That guy
He
can
is-
do everything.
he
He's
can-
amazing.
He's so funny. Baby Billy.
He's so funny, and he is a serious person. When
is
he
a serious
plays a dramatic
person.
role, he's like wholly believable. That whole cast has that capability. They're all
Oh my
really
God.
versatile like that. I love
Love
yeah.
it. Love it.
That's awesome.
Can't recommend it enough. And what was your antidepressant, friend?
What was my antidepressant? You know, I think it might just be. So I take this dance class on Sundays that I love most Sundays, and I've made a couple friends in that community, which is lovely. And related to what we talk about here, reality TV, that is, one of the girls she gets a subscription to Us Weekly. And so every week she brings the Us Weekly because she's done with it and she knows that I love it.
Aw.
And there's something, first of all, so wonderful about that. That's just so kind of her to like bring this piece of trash to carry it with her to Pasadena every Sunday morning. And then there's just something about like a magazine. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's remember when magazines were the thing and you would like go and
Yeah.
buy, like to sit down with a stupid magazine. It takes 2 seconds to read. I put in quotes because it's just like a picture book. Kyle Richards is on the cover this week, but there's something about like the tactile thing of turning pages and like poorly written articles and who wore it best and weird advertisements, the people who still advertise in hard, publications. It's just magazines. This one dumb magazine a week, I think, is my antidepressant.
I get it. I used to love going to nail salons and
remember that?
and picking up an Us Weekly and being like, hells yeah.
Yeah, I had no
You
problem.
know?
And they're like, the wait is 40 minutes. And I was like, cool, I'll see you after like 6 People magazines.
Exactly. Yes, I do. And now it's just like, I can just dial that shit up every day on my phone. And it's different.
It is different. And it's not like
different.
I need all the magazines back in my life, but there just is something really like satisfying about
Totally.
sitting down with a stupid ass Us Weekly and
I get it.
thumbing through it on a Sunday afternoon. So
I get it.
How about you?
get
What
it.
was your antidepressant?
On Friday, my husband took the day off, which I was really proud of him for. And we went and got our updated COVID and flu vaccines.
Great.
And we ran errands and we got to have lunch together. And it was lovely just to spend some time with him, like a concentrated chunk of time with him that was just the two of us while we were like awake during the day, not like,
Half passed out in the TV.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
That's
And it's
amazing.
like, I just, when we have the opportunity to have time to ourselves and it's not focused on us as parents, but us as like a couple, it's really nice to have that instead. So, and it was during like the weekday, so we could like go get brunch and we didn't have to wait for a long time because we weren't fighting everyone else on a Saturday or Sunday morning. And, it was lovely.
That's so nice. It's so nice how much you appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's fascinating how that goes from like being the whole relationship to being something that's like a rare treat.
I
'Cause
know.
Once
It's
parenting becomes
really,
part of it, you have a little dependent
yeah.
person who requires your attention to stay alive. So you can't just do that stuff.
Yeah. And the way we want to parent, we have to be very present. And it's hard because like I used to date this man. Like we were not utilitarian together. We were romantic together. And then you have a kid and like so much of it becomes utilitarian. And it's a really, it's like when I think about it, like, it's just weird and it's normal. And I know it like happens every day, every day, all over. But like, it's like the fact that like getting lunch with my husband on a weekday feels like cause for a celebration is great. And also like it's weird.
Yeah.
You know, like life is like adulthood and parenthood is it's hard. If that made sense, that little.
It does, but it's
It
nice. Again, it's just nice that stood out in your week as an antidepressant.
Yeah. Oh,
Whereas
yeah.
before
For
it was the
sure.
norm and it would just be like, oh, I'm having lunch with Josh again today. Like now it's like, I had lunch on a Friday afternoon
Yeah.
with this guy. And it's like a big fucking deal.
And we got to like hold hands walking down the street. And he, he opened his door for me, my door for me, and, like pulled out my chair, and just like, it was just lovely. He's a really good person. If you hear this, really Josh, I love you. Yeah. And
Josh, you are beloved.
And I like seeing him as my husband and not like the father of my kid all the time. Do you know what I mean? Anyway.
Of course. And I'm sure that goes I'm sure that
for
goes both ways. But it's
sure.
hard.
It's just
because your house now is the house of parents and a child. Like I'm sure it takes something almost like a full change of location to be like,
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my God. Okay.
And in a couple weeks, we will have been married for 10 years.
I know.
And and my mom is going to fly down and take care of Leo for the weekend so that we can go to Napa. Not Guerneville, not Sonoma. We're going to go to Napa. Are we going to Sonoma or Napa? I'm not sure. Unclear. But we're going somewhere in wine country.
Can't lose. Either one of those.
We can't lose.
Divine.
And we're fucking pumped. And it's going to be the two of us. And it's great. Because so many of our like vacations are a threesome.
Yeah, yeah.
A threesome including our child.
It was literally like, I don't know, does it need clarification? They have a kid. Anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be a different kind of threesome on this trip.
Yes.
No.
Probably not.
Or
no.
who knows? Whatever. Who cares? But at least you guys it'll be adults.
Exactly. It'll be adults.
Just the adults making those decisions.
Just adults. And so looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
10 years.
10, dude. 10.
You had a kid. You've moved a bunch.
Moved. So many fucking times have I moved.
That is a lot to reflect on and be really proud of.
It's crazy. Yeah. It is. So
that is a successful partnership, my dear.
It is. It is. And it's getting more and more successful by the year, I have to say. Just like everything worth it in life, it takes effort. So kudos to everyone who's stoked to hang out with their partners on a Friday afternoon and get lunch, because it would be real easy to just like, I don't know if any of that, what I'm saying makes sense. It's just.
I'm sure it resonates deeply with people who have been married in or around 10 years. That is a long time to, share space with someone. Like, it's just a lot. It should be celebrated is my point. I'm so glad that you guys are actually going to have a chance to go away. And
Me
be
too.
Like, we did a decade.
Yes,
That's
we did a decade.
And that rips.
And I'm really proud of us for like being proactive about having my mom come. I think Josh even was like, texted her, was like, hey, can you come down? She's like, yes.
Aww.
And which, to my mother's credit, she is showing up.
Yeah.
She shows up for us. She shows up for her kids still.
And for her grandbaby.
And for her grandbaby, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm happy for them, too, that they get that time alone. Like, that's,
me too.
Some of my favorite time is like the time I get to spend solo with my friends' kids or my sister's kids, or like, it's so special.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
That's kind of a gift both Leo and your mom get too.
Yep. Anywho, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. See if your downloads are automatically turned on. Pass us on. I request that with love, please. We're so glad that you enjoy the podcast, and we would like others to enjoy it as well. And just drink your water, text your friends, try to have a chat on the phone with them if they're not someone that you get to see IRL. It's real easy to text. Calling is, I never know if people want to pick up my fucking calls. But like, I love to hear my friends' voices.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm. So I love you, friend. I'm really glad we got to do this. I feel much less Sunday scary, oppressed than I did when we sat down.
Yeah. I love you too. And everybody take good care of yourselves. And we'll talk next week.
We'll talk next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are, obviously, not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.